This episode of The Casual is brought to you in part by Squarespace. For all your website needs, Squarespace delivers it in an all-around package to help you build a beautiful, integrated online presence. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Reggie Casual, and welcome to Unscripted, where we talk the business of fashion. In the past, I have given you tips on brand building, but I didn't always give you concrete examples. That's my fault. Today, that ends. From my now over 10 years of marketing and branding experience, we will be looking at case studies from successful brands and designers or whoever, and how you can implement theories, strategies, and the like, even if you're just getting started. And to get started, we're tackling marketing. And what better brand to showcase than Nike, one of the best marketed, if not the best marketed brand on the planet. So without further ado, let's get it. Now first, the facts. Let's roll up the sleeves on this one. Nike is the #1 sportswear brand in the world. It normally boasts increasing revenue yearly. However, certain cataclysmic events in history have finally broken its streak. It has more Olympic medals than any other brand by a lot. That is athletes who use Nike at the Olympics. They spend more on sponsorships than any other brand. They practically own the basketball market at 96%, which is crazy. It's the most valuable sportswear brand, and as of 2020, the 13th most valuable brand in the world. Period. Only one of two fashion brands to even make the top 20, the other being Louis Vuitton. And that is what we call good company. So how does Nike continue? Let's roll down these sleeves real quick. So how does Nike continue to crush its competitors and stay ahead of the curve? Well, Nike calls their form of marketing demand creation. And while they don't really spell out what that means, if you are an avid Nike fan, you probably have a good idea what that means. Basically, Nike is the king at giving you a reason to buy their product by eliciting an emotional response beyond the actual product. Now, this can be done via its sponsorships, its amazing advertising and exclusivity, or in better words, perceived scarcity. Now, how does this all come together? How does it work? Well, it's no secret that Nike uses the biggest influencers it can find to sport and wear the brand. But even more so, Nike creates connections. And it's not just big, huge stars like LeBron James and Travis Scott. Those are just the tip of the iceberg. Smaller names like Cav Imp and Yoon show that Nike has its ear to the street. Nike's media strategy is also second to none, with award-winning ads no less. Why? Because Nike focuses on action more than product in said ads. They constantly beat the drum on beating the odds, working hard, winning, going against the grain. However polarizing it gets, Nike places its foot in the sand or line in the sand, whatever that phrase is, and isn't afraid to ruffle some feathers. This has translated into a company that appears rebellious on the surface, but also demanding of putting your best foot forward, something that Nike has so delicately perfected. That's why exclusives come out. The sales from exclusives are marginal at best, but the individuals that partake are what I like to call high velocity content sharers. These are individuals that are so excited to talk about Nike product that they either share, create, or talk about Nike product all the time. It's the very reason Nike is the most followed brand on Instagram with over 100 million followers. So yes, even when people say on Twitter, I effing hate the sneakers app, dog, it actually helps Nike. In fact, this very episode that you're watching right now helps Nike, but it also helps this video because Nike is searched so damn much that it helps its chances in the YT algo. So yeah, Nike. That should definitely help get views or something like that. Anyway, before we get into the nitty-gritty on how you can use Nike's strategy to help your brand, we're gonna get a word in from our sponsor, Squarespace, on building a website. In the fashion industry, the competition is fierce, and your presentation has to look solid from jump. That's where Squarespace comes in. Beautifully designed templates, easy to use web building tools, and social integration make Squarespace the perfect choice for the budding entrepreneur or even the savvy professional. Plus, by using our link, squarespace.com/thecasual, you could save 10% when you start. So, get that business off the ground the right way and use Squarespace today. Okay, you are not Nike. You know that. You don't have their money, apparatus, or machine. It's very likely that you don't. But that doesn't mean there's nothing to learn or use from the swoosh brand. First, we gotta take a look at demand creation and replicate that. At its core, Nike is a sports apparel company that uses marketing that, quote, elicits an emotional response. That means things like, check out my brand, this is the dopest thing ever, my brand is the next blah, 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 or even good-natured messages like, the proceeds from this brand go to such and such cause. Those are like blowing hot air into the wind. It does nothing. What Nike has done is they have attached its brand to healthy living, winning, and never quitting. Just do it is the mantra in everything that they do. Your brand must attach itself to something, a mantra, a clear, definitive message, and then beat it into the ground. It should be so that anyone that comes into contact with your brand effortlessly attaches it to that mantra. For example, keep it casual. For all those that know that slogan, they know what it means. Even if they are unable to explain it in detail, they just know, they feel it. And the great thing about it, this requires very little money, if any. You literally can just establish a repeatable message and attach your brand to individuals who invoke that message. And that is the point. Attach your mantra to people who invoke that message, not just anybody. This is the true power of influence. Listen, no matter how many people think influencer marketing is dying, the truth is it's not. But it is getting smarter. Gone are the days where you could simply give your product to any famous person and hope for the best. People are smarter than that. It's also dumb expensive to do it that way, and usually it's a bad ROI. What Nike does is curate all the individuals it sponsors, those who hustle for greatness, that quote, just do it. It used to be just sports. Now it's music, design, and more. People who defy the odds. Look at Travis, Yoon, Sam Ross, Matthew M. Williams, all individuals who took unconventional paths in their careers, but despite that, killed it, all signed to Nike. Why? Because that's what Nike represents, going against the grain and just doing it. So don't just attach your brand to individuals simply because they are known. Attach your brand to individuals that matter to your brand and invoke that core message you keep beating into everyone's head. It's more authentic that way. You're making denim jeans? Find a blogger who's passionate about denim, or even a store that sells various brands, and send them a pair for review. The people you target don't have to be huge. Hell, Nike's first sponsorship was a Romanian tennis player. Nike's secret sauce isn't really sponsoring the big names or the technology they explore, or even the logo or slogan. It's their endless effort to create communities with the assets that they have. From runners to b-ball players, skaters, and designers, lifestyle heads, sneaker collectors, hell, even cats that take L's on the sneakers app are all involved in the Nike ecosystem. In fact, it's how Nike's strategy of exclusivity or perceived scarcity works. Nike found a way to get its most vocal community, collectors and hypebeasts, to generate organic buzz as they are high velocity content shares, what I mentioned before. By doing these highly limited releases, that community begins to pump Nike into the social media sphere, which results in more engagement for those who aren't in that sphere of influence. Which is why Nike keeps pushing out exclusives. They count on it for marketing purposes beyond that release. By continuing to create defining products that keep your base support in mind, eventually your label will reach ears and eyes it otherwise wouldn't. Case in point, Acronym. They made stuff for people who were so heavily into tech and outdoor gear that they created their own movement, and people started finding out about Acronym outside of that sphere of influence, which is quite funny because Nike heard about it and they signed Eros and Hugh to a multi-year deal, which is great. So make products for your base. I cannot stress this enough. Make products that your base will love and they will talk about it. They will speak about it all the time. Nothing is worse when a brand tries to talk to everyone. Nike doesn't even do that. So why would you? Create a core message, beat it into the ground, make products for your base, and have them become fanatics and talk about it. This is the key to organic marketing. Just find the right people. And it might take a minute, it might take a long time, but in the end, you'll have a brand that is trusted by a certain group of people that will continue to talk about it and will continue to fight for your success. And that is it for this episode of Unscripted. However, if you want even more content and overtime, all you have to do is become a member right here on YouTube or on Patreon. You can get a whole bunch of extra content business tips, all kinds of crazy stuff. You could also follow on Instagram and Twitter for all the latest out of Japan and beyond. But most importantly, keep it locked right here for all of your info on international street fashion and culture from Tokyo. It's your boy, and keep it casual. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. I will see you guys in a minute.